Hey, what is going on, guys? TheKnowee here, and in today's video we are going to be continuing on with our brick breaker clone. In the last video we have our bricks able to work, so if we press play we can actually break them. It'll bounce up and down off of them. I have them set to 2. Boom, they still break, and that's pretty epic. Also, if you guys notice, I went ahead and I made myself a little bit more of a level, so I added a bunch of bricks and I named it level 1. If you haven't done that, that's totally fine. Go ahead and pause the video now and make yourself a little bit of a level. Alright, so now that you have yourself a little bit of a level, it's kind of bland if you ask me. There's nothing really happening. We're in a 3D engine making a 2D game, and there's just not too much happening. So we're going to head over into the brick script and we're going to add some life to our game. First things first, we're going to make a few publics. We're going to make a public vector 3, and we're going to name this rotator because we're going to add some rotation to our game. Okay? Then in start, we're going to make a transform.rotate. Oh, not rotation. Rotate. Okay? We're going to make 2 of these. There's going to be one in start and one in update. It's transform.rotate. Okay. And then in update, we're going to have rotator. And we're going to multiply this rotator by time dot delta time. Okay. And basically what this does is it says no matter what your frame rate is for your computer, it's going to be rotating at a specific speed, and that's what we want. So now we're going to add a little bit of flavor to that rotation in start. Okay. So let's go over here and we're going to add rotator to this, okay? And then we're going to multiply that by the, let me add one more of those. We're going to say transform dot position dot x, and we're going to add that to the transform dot position dot y. Okay, that's going to add a little bit of flavor to our wonderful little game. Okay, then after we add all of that in, let's go check out our rotation. So with our public here, we can go to the prefab and take a look, and if we go down here, we have our rotator. I'll go ahead and add whatever you want in here. I'm going to make mine 45. Alright, and now if I click play, now they're rotating and they look pretty sick. Right? But they're a little bit off. If you guys notice that there's like this, they don't look quite right. So we're going to quickly go in here and we're going to times that by 0.1f. Alright? And basically, so to explain the code, we're rotating them with our vector 3, and we're setting the transform to rotate along the x and y and it's going to rotate. That's going to start rotation at 0.1 speed. So if we take a look at that, ooh, that's a pretty cool look. And if you really want to amp it up, we can head over here to the material. And we can add some smoothness and some metallicness to it. And then watch this effect. That looks pretty freaking cool. Alright, I'm actually going to turn down my brick color a little bit. So make it more of a darker blue so it's a little easier to see with that nice emission still there. So let's try that now. Oh, I missed the ball. Let's try that again. Boom. Let's tune down the smoothness a little bit. Let's see how that looks. That looks pretty sick. Okay. Actually, I'm going to turn off the emission. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty freaking awesome. So we're going to turn down the metallic just a little bit. There we go. So now, when we have all of that set, we have some pretty cool looking bricks. They have some flavor to them now. They're rotating, right? They look pretty cool, but when I hit them, they're still kind of bland, right? If I'm going to hit them multiple times, I want something to tell me they got actually hit, right? Like nothing tells me they got hit. It's just the ball bouncing up and down. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back into our code, and we're going to add one more public, and this is going to be the renderer. and we're going to name it render. And the renderer gains access to materials. So if we take a look at our prefab, this is the mesh renderer, and it's going to get access to the material. This is element 0. Okay, so it gets access to that. Okay. Now that we have our renderer in place, it's time to actually add it in. So first things first, we need to add a few more things, okay? So we have our renderer, our public renderer. Actually, I'm going to switch it to private. So we're just going to make it a regular renderer. Okay. And then we need to make a hit material, okay? So in order for us to actually be able to have a hit, so we need to make a public material, and I'm going to name it hit material. Okay, and then in the inspector, if we go over to the brick, we will have a hit material. We actually got to make a hit material. So let's head over to materials. Let's create a material. I'm going to name it hit material. And I want it to be like this super white, so I'm going to make it super bright white. Okay, then back into our prefab, I'm going to add the hit material where it belongs. So in the script, hit material, we're going to add the hit material. Make sure you apply it in the prefab, or else it'll only apply it to one. We want it to apply it to all. Okay, now that we have that already set and ready to go, we need to add a few more little things here. Okay, we need to add an original material, because whenever we hit it, it needs to turn back, so we're going to add a material. And I'm going to name this org material. Let's add our trademark. There we go. So this is what your code is going to start like. Alright, and now we're going to add in all the juicy flavor to it. So now we're going to have to get access to it. So we're going to have the renderer is equal to get component renderer. Okay, so we're going to get access to the renderer in start, and then we need to set the original material, and we need to set that to a shared material. Okay, so in our collision enter, right, this is where we're going to have it hit. Okay, we're going to say the renderer dot shared material, because this is going to make the game run a little bit smoother, is equal to hit material. Alright, and then after we set that, we're going to make our own method. So we're going to say void, and I'm going to name this restore material. Whenever you make your own method, you need to have a void. You can put private in front of it if you want, like this one, but you don't necessarily need it because it's initially going to be private. And then whenever you're going to put your name, parentheses, and then your open and close brackets right below it in order to make it your own. Now we're going to set renderer dot shared material, and we're going to have that equal to the original material. But that still won't have it go just yet. Alright, we need to add one more little piece of code, and we need to set the org material, and we need to set that equal to the renderer dot shared material. Okay, so if you guys stayed with me, this is what your code and your brick will look like. So let's take a look what that looks like in our wonderful game. We're going to wait for that to compile, and we should hit up. Boom. But see how it still stays white? So notice how it still stays white. So let me head back to our wonderful little scene here. Let's move up the ball to like up here. Okay. Now we need to actually have our wonderful little material actually be restored. So right under this, we're going to invoke. And with any invoke, you have to have it as a string. And if you remember what a string is, it has to be exactly the same. So restore material. So we're going to invoke restore material at 0.05f. Also make sure you have a little comma right there. Okay, so what's going to happen is, alright, so time to explain our code here. So at start, it's going to get the, it's going to start the transform, it's going to start rotating, right? And it's going to start rotating it at 0.1 F, right? Then it's going to get the access to the renderer, and it's setting the original material to equal to the renderer.shared material, which is our material we put in within our public right here. So what our public hit material is. In update, we're having it rotate at a certain speed, and then whenever we have a collision, if it isn't set to 0, if hit points are not less than or equal to 0, it won't destroy. Instead, it'll have the renderer display the hit material, and it'll invoke restore material after 0.05 second, of a second, right? And then restore material is basically just sitting there saying, okay, so the renderer.shared material is equal to the original material. All right, so let's take a look at make sure the code actually works. So press play, boink, boom. Now it's flashing every time it hits a brick. That's pretty epic. And now we have a pretty awesome working game here. So now that we have a working, pretty cool looking game, right? We have a level going on here. We have the working paddle going on down here. We need to add some levels to this, right? We're going to actually have it give us some points because, I mean, it's a brick breaker, right? We have it set so that the bricks, whenever they get destroyed, they can award us points. I'm also going to reset this to 1. Okay, so we know it works. So we're going to have it so that we can actually start getting scored some points. Okay? And the only way we can do that is making one more new script. And that is going to be, well, let's first make sure my level 1 is centered. Yeah. I'm going to create an empty object. I'm going to reset its transform. Always reset your guys' transforms. And I'm going to name this Game Manager. Okay. I'm also going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to also name it Game Manager. So notice real quick, right as soon as it compiles, that it turns into like this cog. Alright? Because Unity knows that this is a very common thing to use. So it automatically switches to this cog because it knows, hey, you're about to make a lot of UI, you're about to make a lot of different things that help this game run. You're going to be adding scores and stuff like that. So it knows that this is what this is going to be doing, and it's very common for people to be using this game manager. Go ahead and drag and drop that onto your game manager up here so that it's already ready to go. Now, before I take you into the game manager, I'm going to end this video here, and on our next video, this is when we're going to step into the game manager, because the game manager deserves its whole video all on its own, because there is a lot of components about to go into this script, okay? So I hope you guys are excited and ready for that. I know I am. And if you guys like this video and find it informative, or if you guys have any questions for me, be sure to leave a comment down below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe so you guys don't miss any more future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.